Hey everyone, it is Latasha Blanton with The Real South Africa, and I just want to thank you guys for joining us on this live. Good afternoon to those of you who are in the US, and good evening to those of us who are in South Africa. If you are just now joining us, thank you so much. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And today, I want to remind everyone that we are going to be in the United States on October 16th and 17th for the Travel and Adventure Show. Those of you that are in Atlanta area, please be sure to stop by, share, and of course, come and purchase your experience to South Africa in person. Now, today, the person I have with me had the opportunity to come and travel with the Real South Africa. Her journey is something that I'm going to allow her to share with you, and I hope that you guys will enjoy her story. So now, without further ado, I'm going to welcome Mrs. Maxine Beckford. Hi, Maxine.
Hi, Ms. Dr. Blanton. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. Thank you for taking the opportunity or allowing me to, recap your experience here in South Africa. If you will just do me a favor and go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and tell them how you found us.
Okay, I'm from New York. I'm actually from Long Island, Valley Stream. And I've always wanted to go to the continent of Africa. So I was turning 50 in 2020.
Right, right,
And
right.
and I told my boyfriend that I wanted to go to Morocco. And he was like, why you want to go to Morocco? Why, if you're going to go to Africa, why are you going to go to Morocco? I was like, oh, we could go to Morocco, then we could go to Spain. And like maybe a month later, he sent me information about the real South Africa. So I looked into it. I looked into the tours that you had, and I was like, this will be a great experience. So I reached out to you, and you provided information about the real South Africa, the tours. You just gave me a lot of information, and you were very quick in responding to the questions that I had. I think I asked you about whether I needed to get extra vaccines, and all of that. Um, the travel, as far as which airline, you made recommendations. So you were like very clear about everything. So I decided, for my 50th, this is where I'm going. So then COVID happened, and that just threw everything off. So I had to postpone it. So shortly after, I would say the beginning of this year, you reached out to me and you were kind of like, we're opening up, think about when you want to come back. So I figured that I would come back on my birthday this year again. But unfortunately, my boyfriend wasn't able to go. So I asked my cousin, who's like my best friend, I was like, do you want to come with me? And she was like, sure. So then her sister-in-law wanted to tag along with us as well. So that's how that all happened. So we actually traveled, we left New Jersey on September 25th, and then we arrived in South Africa on the 26th. So we did the 6-day package, and now I regret that I didn't do 10 days, but I'm planning on coming back. So
I,
that's how
I
it happened.
No, that's beautiful. I think that I find it ironic that you wanted to spend your 50th here. Obviously, COVID stopped that from happening, but you weren't deterred. You were like, I'm still gonna go. Yeah, it was a year later, but it was still around the time of your birthday. And I think that your birthday was the very next day after you got here, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken. And tell me, when you were trying to get your cousin and and her sister-in-law to join you guys, like what was that process like? Was it like pulling teeth? Like how did you get them to join you?
it wasn't like pulling teeth. They were actually very excited. Like they were like, my cousin was like, "Are you sure? You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "I'm in." So then when her sister-in-law found out, then she was like, "Can I come?" And I was like, "Sure, you can come." So it wasn't a process of them like, "Oh, we don't know, we're not sure." They were all in for it.
No, that's good. That's good. So I think that the first question I want to ask you, like what were your impressions or your preconceived notions per se of South Africa before you got here?
So I would have to say my preconceived notions, of course, what everybody thinks about apartheid. Um, when you're traveling out of the United States, you feel like, what's the accommodations going to be like? How are the people going to be? What language do they speak? But you provided so much information as far as they also South Africans speak English, but yes, different tribes, they have their own language, but everyone spoke English. Um, it's no different than going to somewhere, I would say, here in the United States, where you would be concerned about the accommodations, the people, how the people are, and stuff like that. Um, I wasn't concerned as far as, I'm gonna be and I hate saying this, but like I'm gonna be in the jungle somewhere, or I'm gonna be in some hut, that whole thing. And again, like when I told, and I think I told you this, like when I told like my coworkers I'm going to South Africa, it was like, "Oh, you're gonna go on a safari?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm doing other things. It's not just
Right.
a safari." So yeah.
So I'm glad that they didn't, require a whole lot of prodding because I think that it's a thing where if you spend a lot of time trying to convince someone to come to South Africa, then you end up not having a good time. So I'm grateful that the
Right.
ladies were, it was basically ended up being a girls' trip, and that's pretty much why I wanted to talk to you because a lot of people have questions about can I come alone? Should I bring girlfriends? But if you've got a good group of girls, you guys were absolutely amazing. So thank you again for the opportunity. But when you decided to travel, it obviously wasn't a difficult decision because you knew you wanted to come to the continent. And when you finally did travel, what was like, were you afraid? Did you feel safe here? Like, were you like, okay, like, how did you feel about that whole process?
Actually felt safe. Um, I didn't have any anxiety about, oh, I'm not going to be safe. Again, I have to thank you because you explained everything to us. Like it was, oh, where, the driver to look for, what they're going to have on. So that process was easy. The transportation from the airport to the hotel. At one point did I feel unsafe, even when we went on our tours, when we went to safari. Not one point did I feel like, oh, this is not safe. And again, you have to use your common sense when you're going anywhere. We live in New York. You're not just going to walk around in some random place. Like you have to be on your P's and Q's. But
Yeah.
right, but it was anything out of what I would usually follow if I'm here. Put it like that.
I understand. So basically, coming from New York and having to be aware of your surroundings. If you grow up like that, that doesn't change just because you travel. Like you don't
Right.
go in here and let your guard down. So that was good. So I'm glad that you felt safe, and I appreciate you talking about the overall process of booking and all of that. Do you think that the process from beginning to end, from the time you made the first phone call almost 2 years ago to when you got here, explain that process, and do you think that it was a simple process for to be able to book with us?
I feel that the process was pretty easy. I reached out to you, just of course there's a time difference. You guys are 6 hours ahead, but you responded in a timely fashion. Um, as far as setting up payments or having a payment plan for those that may not have the money right away. But if you plan the trip, say, a year or 6 months or whatever, you have time to pay your trip. The process of doing the payments is very easy. You get a receipt, you provided a receipt, you emailed this receipt as soon as you got the payment. Then it was all about booking the flight. So at first, you recommended South African Airlines, but I think they were, by the time the end of COVID, there was some stuff going on. So I just kind of, the three of us kind of were on the phone together and we booked a direct flight to South Africa, which was easy, provided the information to you. We didn't have to wait around for our driver. The driver was there as soon as we came through customs. So the process was seamless.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, we work really hard as a tourism company here in South Africa to try and make sure that for those in the diaspora coming from any part of the world, that we make it as easy as possible. Meaning, we don't want you to have to worry about cars or drivers or accommodations. And can you tell the people a little bit about like how you felt about your accommodations that when you got here?
So can I say I've traveled. I have to say this was the best hotel that I've been in so far in my entire life. And I'm not saying I've not been to dumps. I've been to other hotels where it's been, all inclusive and everything, but it was very nice. It's a Marriott. Like, the breakfast was not just bagels, cereal, and eggs. It was like a whole spread. It was a variety of food there. The food at the hotel actually was very good. There's like a restaurant, the hotel restaurant, and then there's another restaurant. But the food was amazing there. It was really good.
So let's talk about the food, because you did get a chance to have the breakfast at the hotel, which we always recommend. And it's always included in packages. For those of you that don't know, breakfast is included daily. But you did get to have a really nice 2 sit-down dinners. So tell me a little bit about those dinners and how you felt in both of those environments.
I felt safe. I felt it felt like being in an upscale restaurant here in the States. A variety of food, also with South African cuisine also included. The food was great. Great drinks.
Oh yeah, great, definitely great. I think your your cousin sister-in-law, I think she enjoyed the drinks the most. Every time I spoke to her, she was like, "No, I had this many Long Islands." I was like,
right.
Like,
right.
She had a really good time. So what was your most memorable day here in South Africa? If you can tell me a little bit about that.
I would have to say my most memorable day would be speaking to one of the tribesmen of the Kosian tribe, and just the whole dynamics and the history of the tribe and their demands that they, what their demands are from the South African government. That really kind of made me like a little emotional, because it just reminds me that as far as Black people here in the States, and it's like the same story. It's the same story. And I think it's important for us to travel out to see the stories of other Black people, their story.
For sure. No, that's impressive that you got to actually even do that. But tell me how you got to that point because it wasn't like happenstance. Like you had an amazing guide that you talked about a lot. So
Yes.
tell everybody about your guide and your driver here in South Africa.
Herbie. He he is like a walking historian. So much information. It wasn't just driving us to the places. It was about him telling us the whole dynamics of South Africa regarding the people, the culture. And we went to the park and we were like taking pictures. We were taking pictures with the children there. Um, the Nelson Mandela statue. And he was just like, "Oh, do you want to speak to the king of the Kosian tribe?" And we're like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" He was like, "Come." So then he goes in, but the king wasn't there. It was one of the other I'm gonna say chief. And we actually were able to have a whole conversation with him and he explained everything. It was amazing.
That's that. I love that, and you're right. Herbie is one of our experienced guides here. We do try to make sure you can spend as much time with Herbie as you can. He really is a walking historian. I mean, he has an amazing story of his own.
Yes.
Um, and I think that because he is so open about what he knows, that when you ask questions, you really can see like the comparison to how we're more alike, like you said, like there's a lot of similarities. So you can kind of say, you know what, this is an easy choice once you
Hmm.
realize that, we've all kind of been through the same thing. So it makes it easy to relate. So
Right.
thank you. We'll shout out to Herbie for letting you meet a king
Sharp,
while you're
sharp.
I know, right? I know, right? So you've been on other vacations. You've already mentioned that. And I think you went on a vacation just prior to coming to South
Right.
Africa, right? So was it a vacation did it feel like vacation when you came or did it feel like something else?
It felt it was not only a vacation, it was an experience. It was definitely an experience. Like I it's like I can't even explain. It's a whole experience. It wasn't just okay, we're just gonna sit at the beach and just chill and it was
Yeah.
a whole experience. It was just a whole vibe of being in that space, um, experiencing the people, the culture. Um, yeah, it's just an experience. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like it's truly an experience.
No, I think that's beautiful to hear because we don't actually get a chance to vacation properly. But when you can vacation and it does feel like an experience and you can go away and say, I learned something and you really feel holistic about your time, that's kind
Right.
of what we go for. So I can appreciate that a lot. So I do thank you for saying that it was an experience because we do really try to make sure you have a full-fledged experience, meaning that you get to mix and mingle with the people, eat the food, be in the streets. And I think you guys just kind of walked around and enjoyed it. And you did some shopping while you were here too, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yes.
You did
Yes, we
some
did.
shopping. Now, tell me about some of your shopping experiences compared to some other places that you've been.
So the Mall of Africa for me is like one of our typical malls here in the States because it has a lot of the stores that we have here, Gap, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, those stores, Coach, it's in the mall.
Mhm.
Um, but then we went to like another mall where it's like the craft market,
Yeah,
where it
yeah.
has more of, you can get traditional clothing and beads and, jewelry. So that was like really nice.
No, that I'm glad that you guys had a good time. I don't think you slept very much. I think that you guys hit the ground running. You're like,
Yeah,
nah, we're going to do
yeah,
work.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and I found it ironic that you guys like almost forced yourself to stay awake and just like because the time zone difference can be a
yeah,
bit much. And you had a
yeah.
direct. I think you guys did an amazing job of trying to make sure that you didn't miss anything, didn't miss anything at all. Um, is there anything that you would want anybody to know as far as like preparing for travel to South Africa? Should they travel to South Africa? Like, what would you want if you had to meet someone on the street? Like, what would you tell them about South Africa and your experience and in general? Like, what would you tell them?
I feel that everything was just well organized. Hmm. Well organized from doing our COVID tests to come back.
Yeah,
From the staff at the hotel were very friendly and accommodating. Um, the drivers that we had, Herbie, very nice, knowledgeable, accommodating. So to answer your question,
no, that's great.
um, what should you do to prepare? Make sure your passport is up to date. um, and there's nothing really that I can think of that would be any different than traveling somewhere else. Like, right.
I can
Cuisine
know.
is
That's
here.
good.
I mean, the cuisine is there. Is nothing
Mhm.
strange or crazy. And I don't think there's really anything you need to do to prepare to
Other
go.
than just give us a call and get your flight. That's
Right, right.
I think that was the simplest way for to say what you said because truth of the matter is, we do try and make it easy for you as possible. And really, I think the only thing you really had to do was get your flight. And we stayed in constant communication with you, which is something that we do with everyone. If anything changes, we do that part too. So South Africa makes it easy for us to make it easy for you. You just got to decide to travel here and contact us and we kind of do the rest. Now, before you guys left, you were already chatting about another trip. Like making this an annual girls trip. Like forget all the people that y'all left back home. Is that still a conversation that you guys are having?
Yes, we're definitely thinking about going to Durban and to the Cape Cape Coast,
Cape Town. Cape Town.
Cape Town. Sorry,
No, it's okay.
yeah, yeah. That's the other trip that we're thinking about.
Now, are you gonna bring more people or just gonna be the three of you this time?
We're gonna probably bring more people with us. Yeah, because it was great. We really had a good time.
Now your fiance that decided he wasn't going to
Mhm.
travel, how is he jealous a little bit? Because you probably came back and you're just chit chatting about how awesome it was. Does he feel left out at all? Because now you've got this experience with your cousins and sister-in-law, and you're having a conversation that he can't be a part of. How does he feel?
He know he missed out. He know he missed out. He was like, yeah, yeah. He knows he missed out. He knows he missed out on a great experience. So,
That's great. Now tell the people about your birthday. How was your birthday? What did you do on your birthday?
so on my birthday, my cousin she arranged for a makeup artist and for a photo shoot, and she bought a dress for me, and she surprised me with all of this. So it was really amazing, and it was like not something that I would ever think of doing for myself, but
Mhm.
she did it for me, and it was really nice.
So The backstory on the photo shoot is that she sent me a separate message and she says, "Look, this is Maxine's birthday is on this day. What can we do?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's right up my alley. I love birthdays." And I said, "We can do this, this, or this." And she was like, "Oh, let's do this." And I'm like, "Not a problem." Made some, phone calls, some messages, and she was like, "I want to do that." She said, "But I don't want to tell her. I want it to be a surprise." And I'm like, "I love surprises." So it worked out great. Our makeup artist and the photographer are amazing. They are available to those of you in South Africa and those of you that are traveling to have his expertise take some photos of you. I don't think I have any of the photos here, but I'm going to see if I have some so that you can kind of see. I got to figure out where I put them at. This is it. Hang on. Nope, that's not it. But I can't find the photos, but that's neither here nor there. We'll show them to you guys later. They took some amazing photos together, and overall, I think that she was really surprised at the whole idea of like having the whole thing, because you said it in your own words that you're like, I'm a very low key, like not trying to do a whole bunch. And the dress you had on was gorgeous. Both of them were beautiful.
Thank you.
And the pictures came out amazing. So I'm glad that you guys like them. And I do want to thank your cousin for thinking enough of you to be like, no, it's her birthday. She needs this. They took very good care of you.
Yes, they did. They did.
Very
They did. They did.
It's very clear that they love you. They want you to have a good time. They made sure that you didn't have to worry about anything. And then, of course, I made sure none of you had to worry about anything. But overall, I'm thankful that you guys came. We'll be more than happy to prepare the Durban trip, the Cape Town trip, a combination of a Durban and Cape Town trip.
Yes.
I do think that you guys would absolutely love Durban. Is there anything that you would say to anyone that's on the fence about traveling to South Africa?
Just do it. You will not regret it. Just do it. Just do it. It's safe accommodations, safe driver, COVID test. You don't even have to worry. All of that is arranged. You get your test back before you get on the plane. The airport is safe. Walking around in the area that we were at the hotel, safe. There's nothing. Just do it. Do it.
So don't worry about that. Now, there are a couple of comments in there. People are wishing you happy birthday. So happy belated birthday. And
thank you
for visiting South Africa to celebrate your birthday. There are questions about like COVID and stuff. So she just took a PCR test to enter and to exit. So there's no vaccine required to come into the country. So just keep those things in mind as you guys are preparing to travel to South Africa. Vaccine or not, you still got to take the PCR test. That's the one in the nose. But the people that do the test here, they're actually very gentle. I mean, it's the test itself is still intrusive, but they do a very good job of making sure that you guys are having that you have a nice experience even taking the PCR test. They're not like rough or anything about
it. Right.
So I know you had mentioned something earlier about the staff and the drivers, but overall, how did people treat you here in South Africa?
They were very welcoming, actually. They were very welcoming and very friendly to us. They're actually happy to see us coming there because, they've had a lockdown as well. And a lot of these people need to work. So it's nice seeing us. A lot of them greeted us as their sisters. So they were very friendly with us. We didn't meet anyone that was not friendly.
Awesome. And This is a random question, but talk to me about how many people that look like you were flying over when you got here.
I'm sorry.
How many people? How many people that looked like you were on the plane when you flew over here?
Wow. So, so with three of us, when we were coming, there was like a family of like five.
Mm-hmm.
But going back, I think there was just one lady with her son. Everybody else was, not us, which was kind of surprising, but okay. Yeah.
So tell me why you think that's surprising, just out of curiosity.
Because I would think that more people would our people more people I'm trying to be,
I know, I love it. I love it.
I would think that more of our people would be going there, but no. The plane was, we were the minority on the plane.
So then you have to ask yourself the question, why
Well,
is
we
that?
know why.
You could say it. You could say it. You could say why. You could say why. They get tired of hearing me say it. You tell them why.
Right. Well, because South Africa is like the hub of Africa. A lot of business people are going down there to do business. So yeah. It's a
So
lot going on down there. A lot. Mm,
so I like that because you're basically saying that there's a lot of business coming on that's going on down here, but we're not the ones doing business.
right.
But we need to be the ones doing
Right.
business.
Right.
We've already done that. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Any last thoughts? I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I think that if your cousins want to hop on and give their side of the story, I would love to do that because I know Kimon had an amazing time, and I
Yes,
know
we did.
yeah, she had a good time. So just based on what she said, guys, as far as the plane and the demographics that were on the plane, that kind of emphasizes the importance of tourism to South Africa and the importance of people that have melanated skin to get to this continent and to this country to kind of reinforce the importance of tourism, which is why we do what we do. So just keep those things in mind as you are thinking about travel to South Africa. Like Maxine said, we try and make it as easy as possible. All you're really responsible for is getting your flight, and we kind of obviously got to put the deposit down and pay for the trip, but we
Right.
take care of all the rest. And just I keep having questions pop up in my head as far as like the value of the trip. Like, do you think that it was affordable to come and get what you got, like money wise?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Again, if someone is whatever their financial situation is, if they can plan ahead, pay
Mhm.
off their trip, and then work towards paying for their airfare, then it's very easy to do that. Um, but definitely, if that is an issue, then you should, definitely plan. But it's not something that is not attainable. Like, it's affordable, and
Mhm.
you don't have to worry about what am I eating today, what am I, because that a lot of times takes up it can be costly, the meals. And I have to say that that was not an issue at all.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, have you been to any other countries in on the continent? Or was this the first one?
This is the first one.
Okay, okay. And I know that there's we usually say, Ghana had the year of the return, but I think that South Africa is basically the door of the return, meaning that this is the easiest landing spot for those of us that come from a westernized world. It has all the things that you mentioned earlier. And I think that when we had our conversation before, you mentioned how it felt good to just be, because you have certain comforts as a westernized person being here
Right,
in South Africa. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And I
Beautiful.
just
So,
wanted to
yeah,
mention
please.
one thing.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
No, I love
Um,
it.
as far as some people might have some concerns about COVID, so that's another thing. So every store you go into, um, the hotel, you have to sanitize your hands. Like everything is clean, even up to the each store in the mall. Every store, even in the craft market, you have to sanitize before you. Exactly, exactly. And people are wearing their mask over there. It's
Right.
not one of these issues where people are, you know.
Yeah. How'd that make you feel? Just judging from, you know, obviously you're in the US. I think you work in the healthcare field. How does that make you feel, judging how they portray COVID in this country and then what you're actually see when you get here?
It just really again dispels all the myths of Africa. Just dispels those myths because everything is very organized and everyone is being very safe and clean. So yeah.
No, that's good. And I think that when we were talking about the infrastructure here in South Africa, what would you speak to on the infrastructure for anyone who's wondering if South Africa is a place they should visit?
Definitely I feel that based on what I've seen when I've gone there, yeah, that is definitely somewhere. I won't even say it's developing. It's developed. So it's definitely somewhere where, like you said, it's a soft landing for someone that's coming from the West.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything that I know we're being careful here, and we're gonna try and stay careful, but is there anything that you know you just want them to know if you were talking to, like what do you want them to know?
Can you repeat that?
Is there anything that you want them to know about South Africa, just in general?
It's a great place to visit, the history, the culture. It's one of those things that you will never forget. Like you will never forget this experience. It was amazing. And like when I go away on vacations, I do try to do always try to do a cultural, to learn about the people. But this was amazing. I know I keep saying that, but it
No,
was.
it's okay. But I appreciate that because when I try to explain it, sometimes my words run out. So I'm like, my vocabulary isn't big enough to really express like how I feel on the inside about being here. I think, Kimon said that she liked Soweto because it felt like home.
Mhm.
And but you guys liked everything about it. And I think, people should know that there's something for everyone here. If you want to be out in the bush, you can do that. If you want to, be in really nice places, you can do that. If you want to be in the hood, you can do that. But even in the hood, the people are living pretty good and they're having a good time. I know you saw that when you were there, right? How was your
Yes.
trip to Soweto? Yeah, how was your trip to Soweto?
Soweto was good. I liked going to Soweto. Very, busy, and I'm not meaning busy, but people are doing their thing in Soweto. You know, it was a great experience being there, going to Nelson Mandela's house, and actually reading and seeing the pictures and everything there. Just getting that whole experience of what it was like, which was not long ago in the 1990s. Um, it was just nice seeing that.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. All right. So we're going to wrap this up. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. People are asking where Mark is. They're asking all kinds of questions. Obviously, we're not going to answer too many questions. We can answer all those in the comment sections later. But thank you so much. If
Thank you.
Kimon and Terry Ann, you know, want to come on and talk about their time here and their experience using us to travel to South Africa, we're more than happy to have them. Again, guys, we will be in Atlanta. Well, actually, yeah, this weekend for the Travel and Adventure Show. We hope to see some of you guys there, but we'll be there for Saturday and Sunday. And I want to thank you again for coming on here, Maxine, and I hope to see you again soon here in South Africa.
Thank you, Dr. Blanton.
Thank you.
You really made that whole experience. It was great, and I really appreciate you. Just everything that you and your husband has done to make this experience for me great. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very, very much. And we will see you again very soon.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye
All
bye.
right. All right, guys. So that was Maxine. Obviously, she is very poised, and I appreciate her for taking the time to tell us how she felt. I mean, the truth of the matter is, coming to South Africa, sometimes your words are limited, and you try to be careful because it's so many things going on in your head about how beautiful it is. So you say words like amazing, you know, all the time because it really is a beautiful place. I mean, I have the privilege of living here on a daily basis and um, being with the people every day and eating the wonderful food. And it might sound redundant, but I promise you those things are what makes this country beautiful to me. It obviously had an impact on her. And we know that if you do take the time to get off the fence and make that call or shoot that email, then you definitely will understand why you can be at a loss for words when it comes to visiting South Africa. So we always encourage you guys to visit us at therealsouthafrica.com. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well. We do our very best to make sure we post positive comments, positive content about this country. We do love it. We love tourism. We want as many diasporans as possible to come and see what this country has to offer, whether it be by way of investment or just coming to look at, the culture, the people, and it's a very diverse place. I do think that Johannesburg is probably the best place to start because it is so diverse. So those are the things that we try to impart on a 6 or 10 or 13-day trip. So again, we're going to be in Atlanta this weekend. We're going to make that direct flight from here this week. So again, I thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notifications button so you don't miss anything. And we will continue to do our very best to post positive content about South Africa and encourage you guys to participate in tourism because it is a huge part of the economy here in South Africa. And that is the best way for you to give back to this country. So thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see some of you in Atlanta on this weekend. Bye, guys.